But this live is a topic that the non-lawyer suggested, verbal abuse. We have all either been the abuser or the victim, men and women.
I
Can
think,
be.
but you know what? Honestly, I think it's a female trait. I think there's, and you should never stereotype, but I think I believe it's a female trait. Women have a higher chance of being verbally abusive than men. I think men have a higher chance. And again, you shouldn't stereotype. You shouldn't generalize. So I'm just going to say there's probably a higher chance for a man to be physically abusive, and then there's a higher chance for a woman to, be verbally abusive. But you're right. Everybody has been on either sides.
Right.
Men verbally abuse women, and women verbally abuse men.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
so let me ask you something. I'm gonna pull the race out there for you.
Uh oh.
Do you think black women are more verbally abusive than Caucasian women?
Well,
Be honest now.
no, I have no problem with being honest, but the thing is that I don't. It depends on from what level you're talking, right? Because you sometimes have intimate relationships with people, and then you sometimes have business relationships with people. So it
Right.
depends on from what level you're talking. Most of my relationships with white women have been on the business level. There's been very few intimate relationships, so it's really hard. It's kind of hard to gauge. But with that said, I think on the social level, right, not on the intimate level, socially, I don't think it's a I don't think it, you can say one is more abusive than the other,
Okay.
because just on the social level, I mean, I've seen all races just be nasty, verbally, right? But on
Right.
the intimate level, I think is it we just take it more personally, and then because they know a lot about us, they can twist that knife harder. So I
Right.
don't. It's hard. It's hard to say. I hope that
Okay.
answers the question. But actually, now actually,
How much liquor is involved?
say that again.
J Rock said how much liquor is involved. He said it depends on the person.
Right? Yeah. No, that matters too.
Right.
But there's different types of verbal abuse still, right? There's
Right.
the one type of verbal abuse where you just throwing insults at a person,
Right.
and then there's the other type of verbal abuse where you're trying to play mind games with people. So the reason I actually thought, so if you're just throwing verbal insults at me, what
Okay.
would you say?
Well, Tanya Campbell says she believes that black females got some mouths on them. Yes, we surely do. I mean, I'm just being honest. We do. We're very vocal with our opinions, and I think that we are most definitely misunderstood sometimes. Um, I done popped off a few times. Just sometimes you can be feeling bad. You know what I'm saying? You can be feeling bad. You can maybe be in pain, and then you don't even realize that you're doing. I'm just being honest. You don't realize that you're doing, and then you're just like, wait a minute, like, what am I doing? What? Okay, why am I doing that? So yes, I popped off a couple of times. What I'm saying, but not like.
So give me an example of how you've been verbally abusive. I'm interested to see what.
Um. Okay, I'm thinking about a scenario of what happened. Okay, so I had hip surgery. I tore my labrum. Okay.
Hold on a second. You finna educate me? What's a labrum?
Well, the labrum is basically is what I guess you can describe it like it's like a muscle, like a ligament, and it's connected to the hip joint. So
Okay.
so whenever I tore it, it took a piece of bone with it, right?
Ooh, shit.
So so I was in a lot of pain.
So is that in your inner thigh?
Yeah, well, it's it's right there where the hip socket is at, and it's connected, to the pelvis area. But
Okay.
it's like where the hip ball is at, right?
Okay.
And so I had my surgery,
Okay.
and I'm having surgery again June 1st because I did the same exact thing, tore it
Wow.
again.
Wow.
But yeah, you know how you can ask somebody for something. You're like, hey, can you go and get me some ice? Because it was like a constant, you know, ice on, ice off situation.
Hmm.
And, I found myself getting angry because it wasn't moving fast enough. So I was being very demanding.
Mm.
And once I realized that I was doing it, I was almost, like a little embarrassed because I felt like, darn, like, did I really do that? Did I really pop off like that when somebody is trying to help me? You understand what I'm
Well,
saying?
you just screamed at them, or you called them out their name. I mean, what did you do?
No, I don't remember exactly what I said. I was just being really, really demanding. Like, where is my stuff? What's taking you so long?
Oh,
What
okay.
you doing?
Overbearing.
Yeah. So that's one of the experiences. I mean, I'm that's one of my nicer experiences because I can go way back, from my youth. But
Mm.
I'm just gonna leave that right there. I might share some other things. To just, hey Nene, how you doing? I might share some other things, but that was the most recent thing, where I've found myself to, sometimes basically you don't even realize you're doing it. So I'm throwing one example out as to you. Sometimes you don't even know that you're being verbally abusive to someone.
Right. Right. Right.
Like you can, like what is something that I said? I'm just use for example, like if you call someone an idiot, you know, or some other things that you can say to a person, right? That's being verbally abusive. I've seen verbal people be verbally abusive on YouTube, so you don't even have to be in a relationship. We've all said things that we know that we're not supposed to be saying. But you know,
Yeah. I think So yeah. Again, I think you don't have to be in a relationship, no. But I think when you're in a relationship, the person that's doing the verbal abuse pretty much has more ammunition. You know.
right?
But the reason I actually got on this topic is because I was actually on Twitter the other day, and
Mhm.
I was basically going through my Twitter feeds, and I noticed that Azriel made a comment, and then she has tons of followers, and
Mhm.
one of her followers was like, well, she's a victim. Like someone said something to Adrielle, and then one of her followers, stepped out to protect her,
Oh
and
Lord,
they were like, "Stop, victim bashing." I'm like, "Wait a minute,
Right.
how is she a victim?" And when I asked a question, this one lady, I'm not even gonna say who it was, she just went over the
you
top.
trying to trigger me today?
Huh?
You trying to trigger me today when you're talking about that young lady?
I tell.
Thank
I
you
know.
for being.
Come on now.
You trying to trigger me because you about to bring out something else. But go
Bring bring it
continue.
out. Bring it out. But so this supporter, this Azriel supporter, she just really got on my back, and I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation, and she's trying to get into this like name calling session. So eventually she saw she couldn't get my goose because basically I'm like, well, look, I'm not finna throw insults back and forth with you on Twitter.
Mhm.
That's not what I do. That's not who I am. I said, but if you want to have an intelligent conversation, we can have an intelligent conversation. So she saw the insults weren't going to, do anything to me. So then she switched from insulting me to accusing me. And she was like, "Oh, well, you're violating her rights." I'm like, "Wait a minute, how am I violating her rights?" She came out here, she put this information out here. There's no privacy when you put information publicly out there on the internet. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy. So
Right.
how am I violating her rights?
Right.
And then, she would just go on and go on and said, oh, you're victim bashing. And to me, it just seemed like she had this technique from this verbally abusive technique from throwing insults to basically accusing me of like, doing, these vicious things. And I'm like, look,
Okay.
I ain't did nothing wrong. I'm just trying to have a simple conversation. And
Right.
I just want you to explain to me how you
Mhm.
believe she's a victim. And she couldn't explain it. And because she couldn't explain it, she started using these verbal assault techniques to kind of get away from the subject. So that's how I thought, maybe this would be a really good topic, because like you said, I think I can think of a lot of girlfriends that I've had, and, they do things, when you're upset with each other, you do things to get on each other's nerves. That's actually not in my nature. I'm not going to just try to get under your skin because I'll go off and go and build something or fix something. I ain't got time to be sitting there to try to aggravate you. But, I noticed that, yeah, sometimes women, they'll just sit there and just figure out a way on how they can say something to get under your skin, or they'll
Mhm.
withhold information you need. So that's how I got on the topic. I started after I dealt with her. She actually
You
pressed
dealt
my
with it.
buttons.
Dealt with
Huh?
You said after
We're
I
laughing. You said
heard.
dealt with her.
Yeah, I mean on Twitter after dealing, because then she inboxed me. She started inboxing me.
Oh my
So
lord.
it's like, damn,
Wow.
this heifer really got under my skin. So then I just started thinking, I was like, man, this is a really good topic. So I don't know. I think that some people have mastered the craft of being manipulative,
Right.
and they've mastered this verbal assault craft.
I'm wondering if she said anything about how Azriel verbally abuses everyone.
No, she didn't say anything like that. But Azriel, and this is just my own personal opinion, she
Okay.
strikes me as a manipulator, a verbal abuser. It's just when you look at her channel and you look at whatever all the stuff going on, because there's some really crazy stuff going on. And
Right.
one of the questions I have, because she's actually a witness in the New York federal case, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I,
She.
where
I
did you
thought she
find
was
that out?
number five. I thought she was victim number five.
Where did you find
Five.
that out?
Okay.
You know what? We all try to like guesstimate on who is in the trial. So whenever they
Mhm.
put that the alleged what Jane Doe number five tore up the coat,
Right.
then we just assume the only person that tore up the coat is
As
Azriel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when I actually, who is it, Keisha T, showed me that letter to the judge, and that's
Okay.
when I figured out. But
Right.
also, I think there was a vid when they first rewrote the indictment. I speculated that she was one of the Jane Does, and nobody wanted to get on board with it. Nobody believed me. So it's just kind of funny now how it's revealed she's a Jane Doe number 5.
Well, it's
So
that
here's
she.
my question then. Here's
Okay.
Well, she said it also. She
what
when
is she saying?
she was going back and forth with someone because
With
the
who?
other day she was going back and forth with one of the people from Twitter
Okay.
about the coat because the young lady said to her, she said, "Sis, you stupid." She said you could have taken that coat and gotten some money for it.
Right.
So as Riel went back and forth with her and kind of responded and said, well, I guess you haven't been abused. And then the lady said to her, well, I guess you haven't either because a woman that had been abused wouldn't have taken a man's property.
Right.
And
I
the
mean,
and
yeah.
then further went on to say that if and I don't want to go in, because I don't want to go off the topic, but she went on to
No,
say
that's
that,
we could do a whole live on this
yeah,
sister.
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
we can mix it up. Mix it up.
Yeah,
seriously, do a whole
because she went on to say that if you had been abused, you wouldn't have taken his coat. And the only reason why you're acting out is because you're in the indictment and you're in the indictment. And Azriel said, yes, I am in there, stupid.
Wow.
That was her
So she
response.
admitted
live.
it.
She said it. She admitted it.
Right.
She admitted it.
Well, so here's the
So,
thing. Here's the thing.
mhm,
Because we're talking about verbal abuse
Right,
and we're
mhm,
talking about manipulation, right?
mhm,
right,
mhm,
So and then there was that whole thing where you can see her in. Did you guys see the Precedence documentary?
Yes, I've watched all
Yes.
4 hours of it
How was
Mm-hmm.
it? I didn't see
for
it. I can't
free.
find any information about it
I
online.
watched it for free. I will let you know. I'll email you where you can go and look at it. If it's still up, I don't know if it's still up,
So
but
so let me say this. In the commercial of Precedence, you can see her talking about how she was forced to do some unthinkable things. And to me, that instance right there was kind of like a pure example of how she was manipulative, because she's talking on the phone, and to me it just seems like she's, because who's going to give up that type of information, right? Like, who would even say what she's saying, right?
I can't go to the grave like that. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
no, like hell no, we don't tell nobody no crazy shit like that. So
like for
me,
real. Come on
that
now.
just seemed like a manipulation tactic. It was a
Yes, most
manipulation tactic.
definitely. Yeah, a lot of things she do is most definitely manipulation at its greatest. And like I said some weeks ago, women are like number one manipulators, right? She.
Schemers.
Hey, I'm just keeping it real. I mean,
I, the actual word is conniving, but go ahead.
we have some serious problems. For her, okay, it's like when I talk to the other side, when I say the other side, the people that are against R. Kelly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and that's why I had to leave Twitter alone a little bit, because Twitter will take you out your character.
Right,
Okay.
it will.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
will.
so I had to back down from Twitter a little bit
Well,
because
I'll tell you how to deal with that after you finish.
okay, yeah, because I'm telling you, they'll take you there. But I was debating with some. I call it debating because I like to debate.
Right.
So I was saying, can you explain how Azriel said somebody, I think she said either the day, she said it the same day, but hours earlier. She said today is a good day for somebody to go to jail.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you who I was talking to. I was actually talking to Angelo Clary, her
Wow.
father,
Okay.
and I actually caught him on social media. So I said, "Can you?" Well, it was Instagram, not Twitter, but Instagram. He was on his Instagram live, and I said, "Can you explain how this young lady, she stated that it's a good day for somebody to go to jail, and then next thing you know, she's at the Trump Tower, right? And she, with the lady, I think her name was Kimberly, she made it very hard for Kimberly to get the Grammys and things like that because she wanted Jocelyn to come up. Okay. Um, so Jocelyn ended coming up, and so the argument between Angelo Clary and myself, because he allowed me to call into his live. He said, "How do you know she wasn't talking about Kale?" And
Uh.
I'm like, "How would she be talking about Kales when he's already in jail?"
Right.
So the whole fiasco we seen was a complete setup, right? Um, so for her to come on social media and premeditate, that attack on Jocelyn and then lie on her, she came at Jocelyn. I mean, you got to think about it like this: if you've been around somebody for over 4 years, and then all of a sudden they start calling you a child molester when she was 19 and Azrael was 3 months from being 18, that'll make anybody kind
So
of snap.
here's my question. And then again, we're talking about manipulation, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, and I mean, you may not have an answer for this. No one probably has an answer, but as real as she's definitely not going to tell us. But when did she flip? Did she flip? Hold on a second. Think about this.
Okay. Okay.
Think
Okay.
about this.
Okay.
Did she flip after he refused to put her as the permanent visitor, right? Or did he flip before he refused to basically substitute Jocelyn into the visitation rotation or whatever? Did she flip then, or was she flipped all this time and she was basically acting as an informant for the prosecutors? Because I mean, you really don't know. I mean,
Two and three.
like.
Two
Go
and
ahead.
three.
Go ahead.
I think it's number 2 and 3.
Two.
Um, yeah, because see
Uh,
what
Explain it to me is specifically what you mean.
okay, so we have all learned that these Asriel has always had communication with her family. Now, she had an issue with her mother and her father, and she still do to this day. But she did have close communication with her brother, but she was still, talking to her parents here and there. Her words, not mine, right?
Right.
Um, so I think as time progressed and people were getting into her ear, saying that he wasn't going to get out, she started to weaken a little bit. And I think they used the brother to, really reel her in. And
So
so
you're saying you think she flipped before the visitation fiasco?
not completely, not completely. I
Hmm.
think she was scared, and they and
Yeah.
they took advantage of her with her living in that fear because the person that talks the most, that got the biggest bite, is the weakest link. And I see her. A lot of people seen her as the person that was the strongest link in that
I
relationship.
still kind of think she was, and I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
Okay. So no, but no. Go ahead. Interject
So
me.
I think in one of my videos, I talked about how she was the alpha female.
Right.
And what I mean by the alpha female, I mean one of the ladies that's
I
basically
do.
in control. And the reason I believe she was in control is because number one, she just comes off as a manipulator, and usually, those types of people tend to, get the upper hand if you, unless they're dealing with someone that's conscious and that's woke and that's watching, right?
Right.
And to me, she just seemed like a master manipulator, right?
Right.
And then also is that she was the one that just seems to be, even though her and Jocelyn were out in the public, she just seemed to be out there a little bit more. She seemed to be more vocal. So, to me, it just seems like she was, the alpha female.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, R. Kelly has always had a hierarchy in his, relationships. From what I understand, I could be wrong. I can be wrong.
No, no. I think all in all, we're all right. Just like they said, she flipped. Went okay. I don't know. I know you
Bring
might.
me up to speed on the 2-week trip to Vegas.
Okay, so we have another channel. It's called, well, he has two now. It's one of them is called The Grown Man Show. That's his original channel. And
Right,
now he has The Grown Child Show because we all kind of call him the grown child,
right.
because he's grown, but he acts like a kid. I'm just saying. Anyways, but he ended up, once he got his little hooks into Azriel, he said out of his own mouth that it took him and his wife 2 weeks to
Hmm.
convert her over.
Uh,
Yes. Yep.
They basically brainwashed her. They made her watch Surviving R. Kelly multiple times. They
mm,
were telling her that he was never going to get out. Just putting more fear into the fear bucket that was already there.
right.
You know,
Hmm.
um, so they went on this trip, and she stayed with the grown man for 2 weeks, right?
Whoa,
Hmm.
whoa. The the guy who did the debate with Levi for Kelly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, so she was on
2 weeks.
his show.
Nah, she was living in his home
She was living in his
What?
home.
for two
She
weeks.
was living in her home for 2 weeks.
Her and her dad got into a real bad argument whenever she
Hmm.
came out of that situation. And he was like, forget this. Like, I'm leaving. So it's not like she has a job, right?
Right.
She doesn't have she has nothing going for her. And that's one of the issues that I have with her. If you're gonna be with an older man, someone that you know that you are not going to be able to grow old with because this man is older than you, get something out of it, sweetie.
Hmm.
Right.
This is just woman to woman. Get If you're going to do that, get something out of it, right?
Well, from my understanding, you're supposed to make them marry you, and then you're good at that point.
Well, hey,
You
it's
know,
too.
so if he falls over and he has a stroke, then you just, get the SSI and now what is it? What do they call it? The death marriage, death benefits, and the estate.
And see, this is what a lot of people don't understand about Azriel. And I don't have to speak on anyone else. I can just speak on her. Azriel has a Muslim background. Her whole family is Muslim. Okay, so we all know traditionally Muslim men have a lot of wives. Some choose not to, but I have a family member that converted over to be Muslim, and his her husband has two other wives.
Mm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
2 days apiece. Okay, so that's one of my major issues with Azriel. You come from that background. So it was an easy transition for her to be able to adapt to a man that likes multiple women. So for people to be like, oh my God, he had all of them women, woo, woo, woo. I'm just like, no, clearly it didn't bother them. Nobody twisted their arm. And this is one of the things when I was on the phone today speaking to Terry, the one that I'm going to be low down and myself will be doing the interview with. Um, okay, yeah. Forgive my to take a quicker, but I put this question up here because
Okay.
it put us back on track. I don't know what to think about Joy. Do you think if R. Kelly get locked up, she will not stay 30 to 60 days? Don't take this wrong. I want him free. No, I most definitely don't take it the wrong way at all.
That's a good question. That's a
Right,
good question. But here's the thing. Uh, my opinion, and this is just my opinion. I'm really horrible with women, so so you can't really take it for much. But to me, it seems like he's a ride or die.
right.
So I think she'll stay, but I mean, she's a young lady, so eventually, she's going to, see other people. She's not going to. I I don't think she's going to wait and hoping that he's going to get out. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think even R. Kelly will want that. You know.
Did you see the look on that young lady's face when she walked inside of their apartment in the Trump, and she seen the disrespect? It's like you could see it in her eyes. Her her whole body language changed when she seen how many people were inside his place.
Right. Yeah. No, she was pissed off. She was pissed
Right,
off. You talking
right,
about when her and
as
Azrael?
well, right. And
Yeah.
then she also walks around the jail every single day,
Mm.
no matter the temperature. She has a set time that she goes and walks around that jail.
Who's
So
that? I'm sorry.
Joycelyn, yes, Joycelyn. Every day she
Oh.
does it. Even her parents says it that she does it. If
Oh.
if you don't call that ride or die, I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Like I said, I definitely think she's ride or die, but I think once everything happens,
Okay,
and
there go Pico Beans. Pico Beans about
There
to
go
challenge.
Pico. Mm-hmm.
Did you see the question? Hey T Sizzle,
Hi,
hello.
T Sizzle.
Hey Nene, hey Tanya Campbell, Tawana Campbell, J Rock.
he's saying something different. You could be right. You could be right. Ladies are bad with men. They need to learn how to respect a true king.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this. We were talking earlier. He'll probably kill me. But so Terry and I are good friends, right? And you'll hear him like he just has this voice for radio. And
Sweet.
so as we were on, and I said to Passion, I said, let me tell you, it's been a couple of times that I have gone off because you try to be very respectful and you try to be professional, like all these nine things, right? 9 yards. But with him, it's just funny because and I have to laugh at myself because it's just weird that he has like this radio voice and he's so like mild temper but he's the type that he will say something and will really make you curse him out. And then he'll just walk away, or he'll just sit there and just kind of like ignore you. So you're sitting there really arguing with yourself. And now, meanwhile, you know how us women are. It's like, okay, you kind of triggered me even more because I feel like you're not listening to me, you know?
And
So,
that's a lot of people have actually confirmed that she actually goes to the jail every day.
Yeah, but you know what? So hold on. Let me just say this. Let me just get it out there
Okay.
because I don't want people to be surprised, right? You know,
Okay.
if we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know if he's going to win. We don't know if he's going to lose. Nobody can tell the future. You know, obviously, we all hope that he does win. But in the event that he loses, I think that she is still going to be ride or die. But I don't believe that R. Kelly would want her to be waiting for him for the rest of her life.
Can
You know
I
what I
say
mean? I don't. I wouldn't do that as a man. I would not do that. Right? Like
right,
if I was in that situation and I lost, and I thought that it was going to be a long road. Like if I thought I was going to get out in 2-3 years, and yeah,
right.
definitely wait. But let's face it. Um,
But Don
not to be
King said he
negative.
thinks that
I think she'll stay.
India, her
Well,
parents said it. I mean, it's been many people,
Yeah.
even grown child have said it. I mean,
Yeah.
the
uh,
actor said it. I mean,
Yeah.
she does.
Yeah.
uh, oh
She
man,
really does.
Yeah,
I
her
don't.
parents said it. I thought they were just, exaggerating, but they said
No,
it.
they said she actually goes to the jail.
Okay, so define stay. That's what we need to do. We need to define what stay means.
What they? Oh, okay. Well, okay. This is how I feel about that situation. Let's just say, God forbid, he gets, let's say, 5 years, right?
Honestly,
What do you think?
I think, in my personal opinion, no one wants to talk about this because every time I try to talk about this, people bash me for being negative. I'm like,
No,
look,
I mean
you need to.
that's
No, I'm
always.
not talking about you. I'm talking about on my channel.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
man,
okay.
they have a fit. They show up
Really?
with forks
Oh
and
God.
torches. So I mean, but you have to think about some of these things in order to have a conversation.
Right.
And I think that if he loses, it's not going to be 5 years, Passionate.
What do you think it's going to be?
I did a video on this. I think it's going to be some astronomical numbers, and I give an explanation as to why. And you can, I'll see if I can find a
What?
name of the video.
No, I
Okay, so
because I had to unsubscribe from you and subscribe again. Remember
yeah,
I was telling you about that because I wasn't getting a lot of your
Oh, this
videos.
is an old video though. This
Yeah,
is
so
yeah.
that's
old.
the
This is
time
old.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I think?
But
You're-
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No,
They
you
have
I'm
got it.
sorry.
for you. They
Um,
asked the non-lawyer if Kells can still receive royalties after a conviction.
Oh, you must not have seen that indictment.
Phoenix Rising.
Well, we're going to get back to you, Dom King. But the person who asked a question about royalties, can you text and tell us if you've seen the indictment?
They got that man money on held up.
They taking that
yeah,
money.
they're
Right.
And I
taking it.
actually,
Money is
I
held
explained that
up.
in one of my breakdown of the federal indictment. Basically, they have a statute, which is essentially a law that says winner takes all.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot at stake.
Well, this is what I think, not think, but this has what's known to be true usually when it comes to cases like this. They're going to come back with the prosecutors 3 offers. They just came back. They said, well, I don't know if that's true because it's been said by a source. I can't confirm or deny that. They said 3 to 5 years was the first offer. He said no. They're going to come back with another offer and then the third offer. Usually, just
3 to
by
5 years for what?
3 to 5 years
For what?
The crime.
for the time.
For which one? You know how many?
Well, but no. I think because he has one of the lawyers, and the lawyer is he works out plea
He's
deals.
a plea deal
Hold
expert. I
on.
know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, he's a plea deal expert. So
Right.
what they're trying to do is, I forget the term, but it's a term where they take all of those cases and
Mm,
they put them together. Not put them together, but they'll give the time based on all of those cases.
mm,
Now, will it happen? I don't know, but what they just offered him was they're saying by a source 3 to 5 years. Usually, I've seen in cases
Right there.
where the first offer is
oh, that's
always the
that's the name of it.
highest.
The main culprit. That's the name of.
Yeah. Almost those his
That's
rights to his music.
The rights to his music. Yeah, they
So
came back with three to
right.
five years. So because they came back the first offer as 3 to 5 years, that second offer is nowhere near that. And the third will be even less. But if he loses and he goes to trial, oh, all of that is off the table and he can get life with no parole.
But
But
how
hold on
do
a
though that
second.
was
you like
Hold on a second.
what
This
is
is new to me. This is new to me. Where did
okay?
you get this information from?
Oh,
well, they like I said, it's been a source. They said the source it's been
Who is
tweeted
they?
and everything.
Oh, it's out. It's tweeted or something.
Yes,
what?
it's tweeted. That's what I'm saying. A source said that's close. I don't know who it is because the lawyers have not said anything, so I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know
Well,
any
you
of
know
that.
what? At the very least, if you find that tweet, send it to me because that's a
Did you
learning
read it?
experience to me. For me, like the main culprit. That's another good video right there. But
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna tell you,
Okay.
like, I'm afraid to come out and just be myself.
No, you got to do that. I mean,
I'm
you
afraid to come
But you're right, Dom K.
because
That
every
RICO
time
alone could be 20 years.
no, you
Because
have to
he's looking at
be honest
because he's
because
looking at I think like 500 years. I
That's
mean, it's some
and that's what I'm
crazy
trying to
number.
say. That's what I'm trying to say. And I actually did a video on it. So I'm,
okay,
I'm afraid to be myself here because, like I said, on my channel,
I'll be
uh,
right back.
okay,
there's a lot
Go
of
ahead, keep talking.
supporters, right? And I love them,
right.
and I'm glad they're there. But every time they not trying to hear this plea deal nonsense. And my whole thing is that a lot of people don't understand how this system works
Right.
because it's to me, I don't believe it's a matter of justice. I think that's what they just tell people, right? They tell
Right.
people it's all about justice.
Yes.
I believe it's about game. It's about game. And these people can play with your life. They can, lock you up without cause, and then they can BS you for 4 to 5 years before you even get a chance to go before a judge.
Right.
So
Right about that.
yeah, I don't really believe that the court system is about integrity, honesty, and justice. I think sometimes it does a really good job at putting some really bad people away, but I think sometimes it also does a horrible job, and it puts a lot of innocent people in jail. So
Okay.
when it comes down to a plea deal, damn, that'd be hard. That'd be hard to pass up 3 to 5 years, or roll the dice and you might get, uh, four,
So
five life sentences. That's some crazy shit.
Dom K said
It's
he's
all-
not trying to hear the plea deal either. However, if they give him a total of 3 to 5 combined running concurrent, then I personally believe he should plead guilty.
Right, but with that comes that he would have to also plead to being a tier 3 sex offender. R. Kelly does not want to be the face of being a sex offender. I would do the 3 years too because right now, if he accepted and he's been in there what almost a year,
Right.
he only have a few. By the time he goes to court, he could be walking out the door. But what I would do is take that
But shit, he's
tier
already done
three
like
off the
almost
table.
1 year. He's almost done
Yeah.
1 year.
Mhm. They
Right.
would have to take that off the table though, because
See,
that's the problem. He does not want to be the
also,
face of being a child molester.
Well, you know what? So, like I said, um, I've said over and over, a lot of these charges he can actually beat, but I'm actually torn. Like I'm actually doing a series right now where I'm looking at the double jeopardy clause. And
Mm,
I don't know if you guys heard that debate between Levi for Kelly and Grown Little Boy, aka Grown Man Show, but he made some really good points, right? So there is a way for both the state and the federal government to prosecute a person and not trigger the double jeopardy. But I'm not going to spoil how that doesn't apply to the R. Kelly case right now. But
okay.
I a lot of when you look at a lot of the charges, like the RICO charge and the double jeopardy charge, those are charges, in my opinion, are basically designed to bring in a lot of old shit that's beyond the statute of limitations, and is designed to bring in stuff that shouldn't even be in there. And
Right.
if you get rid of the RICO charge and the conspiracy to defraud the United States, then a lot of it just kind of melts away, and it just
Do
pretty
you
much
think that the RICO charge will be dropped?
So I read the bail denial motion, and in the bail denial motion, there's some things in there that makes me believe that the what's her name, Judge Ann Connolly or whatever her name is, that
Right.
her name?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
she the way she writes the bail denial motion, she mentions RICO, and the way she mentions it makes me believe that it's not going to be dropped. Um, but it should be dropped. It should
Right.
be dropped for sure. But I mean, I
right.
guess we'll find out when we get there.
Right.
I guess that motion hasn't been heard because I think they did file a motion to dismiss the RICO charge, but it hasn't been heard. But I think it should be dropped because basically they're talking about he's an enterprise, and well, he's a part of an enterprise, but they're not bringing any of the other members up on
Right.
charges.
Right.
And Greenberg actually also found a case law that says a man can't be an enterprise and himself at the same time, or something similar to that. So I
Right.
mean, everybody knows by now the enterprise charge, I mean, the RICO charge is just 100% nonsense. There's tons of people out there, tons of musicians out there that, male musicians, I guess women musicians don't have sex, but male musicians, they go out you, and, they want to have a nice time. They've been, working and, busting their chops off trying to perform, and they don't have time to date, so that's one of the things that they do. And, there's tons of musicians that are doing that, so you need to bring up every musician out there and bring them up on a RICO charge, so everybody knows a
That's
RICO charge is just
pretty
not.
much. That's pretty
Right.
much
And
every
you
rock
can't have
star.
one person under a
Actor.
RICO.
Right. That
You need
it
at
doesn't
least
make
six
any
people.
right. And where are they? What are you going to do? Add the parents in each parent? I mean, because if they can charge him with RICO, then they need to be charging the parents.
Well,
Well, one parent specifically, they need to be charged.
and a lot of this is going to depend. Like, even if the RICO charge stays, it should still be easily beaten. I do believe that, but it's going to depend on the jury selection, right? So I did a video series which looks at the jury selection, and you really just want to be lucky enough to get the right people in there and just hope they hold up.
Right. Right. Okay. So hold on. It was something. Do you think so? So do you think that this is based off of his music? What's your opinion on that? I'm just curious.
I don't know, Dana J. He blew my mind because I think we were on your channel when he came up with the theory that R. Kelly was going to get his masters. I mean, it was really compelling because basically Dana J. said that he was getting ready to go for his masters, and I was, playing devil's advocate, and I was saying one of the problems with that is that it's hard to get out of those contracts. A lot of times, those contracts are ironclad, but with the known fact that he has a reading disability, that basically brings up the issue of the meeting of the minds that would have had to been a session where he actually reviews the contract, and if he couldn't, if he has a reading disability, then how can he review the contract?
Right.
So the contract could potentially be voided out. So if
So
the contract is void, now Sony would have potentially been in a position where they would have had to renegotiate the rights to the masters.
right.
But with usually with well, and the only reason I'm saying it because the way we write contracts, he may not be able to read the contract, but he can also sign an agreement for an interpreter who will actually basically like interpret the agreement for him. So we don't know. That might be the missing link right there.
Yeah, I mean
But
we don't
if
know
he has to,
we don't know
right,
the details of but
right. But what I'm
basically
saying is, hold on. What I'm saying is, we don't know. But honestly, to get out of that contract, I would say I was illiterate. I definitely would because that's definitely an angle.
this is the
But
thing about it
Sony
is
did not right. But
no
Sony did
facts.
not drop him. They separated ways. They didn't. Sony didn't drop him. They went separate ways. So they're still on the hook to pay him.
So can you see that question?
I said, Dom K, you need to go to my page. Here, let me see if I can help you. 1 second. Just keep talking.
Okay. I don't know if you even wanted to share the video. I mean, if you would like,
I'm going to try to share it now.
Sorry, Terry was calling
okay,
back.
yeah, share the video and we can watch it. Don't
We don't want to watch it now because it, just let them.
Don't copyright me now.
We don't want to soak up the live on this, and plus I'm gonna get off shortly. But basically,
can I ask you, do you think so? Since we're speaking on verbal abuse, right?
Here you go, Dom J. That's the video title. Let me see if I can actually get the link. Here's the link. Here's the actual link. I mean, don't watch that now. Basically, when we're done, you can go and watch it. But basically, I give a analysis of what I think the statutes that are involved, and then I look at the amount of time behind each statute, and then at the end of the series, I do a calculation. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. I don't do this for a living.
Right.
It's just my own personal opinion.
Sometimes you don't even have to have a law degree, and you know more than what the lawyers know, the ones that went to school, right? But I want to ask you something though. I want to ask you, do you think that Kels being an alpha male, being controlling, do you think that he was most definitely doing verbal abuse? Because a man like Kels kind of sends you mixed messages. Like I said, he's an alpha male. He's very humble, but he's controlling. So do you think as a man with those traits that he has, right? Do you think that he possibly verbally abused these young ladies?
So let me put everything in context.
Okay.
Let me put some things in context for you. Do you think control is good or bad?
I think some control is good.
Oh, I forgot I'm asking a female. So let me ask the audience. Do you guys think control is good or bad?
It depends on in which way it's being used and done. Like, for instance, with him, I think control is good.
There you go. So basically,
I think it's good.
Who blocked India? I don't think. No, India, we can see you. Hey, faces and beyond. No, I don't think he was controlling.
Well, let me say this. I think that control is good. Control is good. I think that if you are a millionaire or you're a public person, you have to be in control. It's mandatory.
Right.
You're not going to let somebody just walk into your life and just do whatever they want to do because they can destroy you easy.
Right.
So maximum control is good. It just depends on the person. It depends on the person. One video. So it depends on what context we're talking about when we're talking about women. But generally in business, you want to be in control. You want to be in
Right.
complete control. Um, in your see, in my opinion, I think having a relationship with Joe Blow off the street is different from having a relationship with a millionaire. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Well, it depends on what kind of millionaire you're talking about.
Elaborate
Like
on
for
that. What do
instance,
you mean?
okay. Um, I think it depends on what type of business you're in. Like I can say my stepfather's a millionaire. We have millionaires in our family,
Okay.
right? You wouldn't know they're millionaires. It's just like regular people. And to be honest with you, my mother tends to be the alpha in the relationship, right? But
Hmm.
I mean, she's been on channel, but she will tell you $1 million man is not the same as $100,000 man. There's
Definitely
differences.
huge
She
difference.
will, she says it all the time. It's a huge thing. I think
But
there's a difference between a famous. When you think about $1 million is not a lot of money. We can go through a million.
You
Let's
know what?
just say, but
Hold on a second. I'm gonna stop you right there, and I wish people quit saying that. $1 million is a lot of goddamn money.
it's
yes, it
not.
is.
Are you wrong? You're 100% wrong. If you
It's
have a
not.
if you have $1 million, you never have to work a day again in your life. We're not even. That's a topic for another time. We're not even gonna go there. But $1 million is a lot of goddamn money.
Oh, it's a whole bunch. No, I was playing. I was doing what you usually do, playing devil's advocate. You know how you'll throw it in
No.
devil's
You know why I don't think it's a lot of money?
Right.
Because I just don't. I don't look at $1 million a
Okay.
lot of
Why do
money.
you think a
Now,
million dollars is not a lot of
now,
money?
would you be able to live off the interest? Yeah.
Yeah.
But 5 million is a little bit more. But I think it also depends on your lifestyle and where you live. I think it
Shit, you
all.
got to
I
hold
think
on
a
a
lot of
second.
that.
Well, that's the problem. You gotta have a reasonable lifestyle. You know, you get $1 million, you don't go out and start buying Lamborghinis and $1 million home. Yeah, it's gonna be gone right then and there.
Right.
No, no, I didn't say that. I said it depends on your lifestyle. I mean, think about something too. I mean, if you just went to college in America and you go get 4 degrees, that's 400,000 right there. I'm just saying, like, it depends on when I say your lifestyle. I'm not saying go shop for materialistic items.
Well,
I'm just saying it depends on,
let me just say my piece, and I'll leave it alone. If you have $1 million, let me stop my phone.
Okay.
If you have $1 million,
mhm.
you can buy certain stocks. You
Right.
can buy real estate investments,
Right.
and you would never really have to touch the principal. That you would never have to touch that $1 million, and that $1 million will basically make you money every year. There's a famous saying out there that says that to take $100 and to turn it into $110 takes work, but to take $1 million and turn it into $110 million is inevitable. You
Mm.
know, so I mean, $1 million is a lot of money. But anyway, we were supposed to be talking about control, and I think we just
Right.
went
Yeah.
You
on it.
know, and that's why I left this up because I think this is a good way to, he said, entertainment millionaires have big egos. Um,
I don't think so. I think it depends on I think it depends on which one it is.
I've noticed that a lot of, I think what I've seen, and I don't know everything, but what I've noticed is a lot of rappers, they're different from the average, like Holly Berry or Jim Carrey. Rappers, they are in a whole category within themselves, or even R&B artists. I've always noticed that they try to show off more than anything.
Hmm. And
Um,
even have $1 million.
right.
Because they probably, you know what? To me, you're absolutely right. I just think that I don't understand why the first thing they do is go buy cars, jewelry, but you don't go out and take like
Right. Right.
finance classes. Like you don't do like money management.
Right.
And
Growing,
I
growing,
think some of them
growing
just
money,
never had
growing
it.
money is a skill that a lot of people don't have. But let me ask another question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me ask another question. Do you think that money changes you?
No, I think it just I
What?
think no. I think what money does, it brings out different things that's already been in you.
I've heard that too. I've heard that.
Right.
No, I don't think money changes you.
So let me say this.
Yeah.
So getting back to control. Here's the thing. When you're dealing with somebody that basically makes, 30, 40, even $70,000 a year, $100,000 a year. Let's say dealing with somebody that makes $30,000 a year, in between 30 and maybe 60. They're going to be their priorities are going to be different. How they manage their affairs is going to be different. When you're dealing with somebody that makes $1 million a year, they're going to be totally different from someone who's making $30,000 to $60,000 a year. And
Right.
because of this, there's a lot of stuff that they're just not going to tolerate. They're not going to tolerate the
Right, Pamela?
what happened.
No, I was laughing at Pamela.
Oh, so they're not going to tolerate a lot of things that that man that makes $70,000 a year is going to tolerate, because they probably are short on time, and they probably have a million things to do. So they probably have a system where they just pay for what they want or what they need, to get things done. And I think whether money changes you or brings out certain things out of you, you're going to be different with $1 million than you're going to be with $70,000. That's just my
Right.
point. So control is going to be a huge issue, because you need to be in control of your life, and you need to be able to be in control of your business affairs. So
Right.
yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with a millionaire being in control. He probably got himself in that position because he was in control.
Right.
I like
What did
Dom
Don
said
say?
something.
He
He
said,
said it doesn't change you, it changes the people around you. And that's true. You're right. You're right.
we was having that discussion, didn't we?
Hey
We
Don,
had that
let me
discussion.
borrow $700,000. I get it back to you.
We have that conversation all the time.
Right.
We do.
Right.
We do.
Yeah.
Certain people, when you reach certain levels, you don't want to be around them anymore. It's a different it's a different situation.
Right. Because it was a guy here from my hometown. He won the lottery. I think he won like 20 million. Maybe it was probably more than $20 million. No, it was well over $20 million, because I remember he gave each one of his family members $1 million. All right. It was this one cousin that blew through the $1 million and came back and asked him for some more money. And when he said no, he killed them.
Whoa.
And we still don't know where the man body at,
Wow.
but it was blood that was left, and
Hey Pamela.
this amount of blood. So yeah, money changes the people that's around you.
So I mean, we went through all that just so that I can say this.
Okay.
Of course, R. Kelly was controlling, and anybody with any common sense would have been controlling too in that position. Basically, he was a man of means. He had money, he had wealth,
Yeah.
and obviously, you want to entertain yourself, but you're not going to, go through all the silly changes that you go through when you're making $40,000 and $50,000. You're just not going to put up with that. So of course he was controlling. He was eccentric, he was different, but he was no different from anyone else in his position. I don't. So here's the tough question, and this is for you,
Okay.
Passionate Gangster, and for you, Low Down.
Oh Lord.
So let's say both of you are single, because I
Okay.
know Passionate isn't single. I don't know about Low Down.
He's
Let's say you
thinking.
both.
He's looking.
Okay,
You
Me.
better
so
have a pocketbook, a
so
wallet. Go ahead.
if you meet a guy, he's a perfect guy, so to speak,
Okay.
and it turns out that he has over 15 million in the bank. Do you expect for him to treat you as an equal in a relationship?
Yes,
Really?
I do.
Really?
Yeah, why not? I wouldn't even care about his money.
Uh,
Right.
I
that's-
wouldn't.
What do you?
I would look.
I bump the money. I'm gonna be like Kaya on this. RESPECT. You know, respect. You know what I'm saying? That goes a long way.
well, you can still be respected and not be
You
an equal.
know,
When you say equal, yeah, why not? Just because you have money?
that
I've
doesn't.
dated I've dated guys that were millionaires.
Mm,
I have. I've dated guys who, like, I'm in a group right now where people just live off their interests. I
mm,
know me, like, I mean, my parents can live off their interests, but if I'm dating somebody, it does not. The money does not matter. Because at any time I've seen where people have been millionaires and something will happen and now they're broke. Look
Right.
at prime example. Look at the he was the CEO at some company in Arizona a couple years ago. He went through the drive-through at a fast food restaurant and he humiliated the lady at the window.
uh,
Next day, they fired him. Now he's collecting food stamps.
uh, wow.
So, and the guy who we're going to be talking to, Terry was a millionaire, multi-millionaire.
Right.
Still the same person at the end of the day. You got to take your pants off the same as somebody who's making $30,000.
Right.
Yeah, we're equal.
Do y'all believe this?
So
Because
go
this.
ahead. I'm gonna ask another question. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to get y'all opinion on this. You know, she said in the R. Kelly case, I thought about it this way. These people had no place to go and took these people in, and this got out of hand, and he laid down some roots. Do y'all believe that's what happened with the young ladies? They were already struggling.
I
They
mean, if you watch Vlad TV's interview with Lisa Van Allen, that was exactly her situation.
right,
Yeah, because I'm trying for the life of me, because even Terry Passion, we all, talking about this today. What were their careers or aspirations before they met Kels? Like, what did they do before then?
right,
Okay, we're not going to talk about Azriel and even Joy, because Joy was in college, but Azriel. What went did though? And one of them was like, was it Lisa Van? The other one, she was like a radio VJ. But what
yeah.
did they do
Jones.
before Kels?
Yeah, you talking about Kitty Jones?
Kitty Jones. What did they do? Like, because my thing is this: even if you are a celebrity, even if
Hey,
you're a
hey,
millionaire,
Pico
you need to
Benz,
have your
hold on a
own
second.
thing.
Hey, Pico Benz, but unfortunately, it does. Unfortunately, it does for some people. Like you look at a sheik in Saudi Arabia who's actually a king, who has all the wealth in the world. He's not going to treat you like an equal. I'm sorry about that, Passion. Go ahead.
No, it wasn't me talking.
Oh yeah, and I just think that like what did they do before him? Because see, like somebody was teasing her the other day, Asriel. They said, you're walking around here with a Birkin bag, but your parents drive a 2004 Honda Accord. I thought that was funny because the purse costs more than your pocketbook. I mean, your pocketbook costs more than your car. So my question is to me, they've all been broke. And they were hood rats. And I hate to say it, but poor Jasmine, you'll probably get like comic struck from this. But poor Jasmine, I'm like, she looked like she on Section 8. I'm not joking. I'm sorry. Sometimes I say crazy things, but I'm just like, what did you guys do before Chaos? Because my question is this, because I want to ask Terry this, right? It was different when we would go out because it didn't bother me, but and Terry traveled with entourages, like he did.
Honda, because I'm
Yeah.
confused. Which one was it? Was
What
it
the
a
Honda?
Honda?
No, it was they said it's a 2004 Honda Accord. So your purse costs more than your price. See, I hate to say it. Excuse my language, but that's some nigga shit right there. Excuse me. I never curse. But I'm like, how does your purse cost more than your parents' car. We're selling the pocketbook. We got to go get you another car because your dad said that he was a millionaire.
so,
I'm
so,
sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so you keeping Pico Ben's comment up. Look, Pico Ben's, this is what I'm saying. Even in a relationship, even in a simple relationship, sometimes there is a dominant person in that relationship, and sometimes there's a passive person in a relationship. So the only thing I'm saying, and sometimes it's equal. There are times when it's kind of a 50-50, and both people have equal standing in a relationship. But and a lot of times there's a dominant person in the relationship, right? The only
Right.
thing I'm saying is that if a person is a millionaire, they're more likely to take on that dominant role. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah, I agree with what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah, and
I'm
you're
sorry.
exactly right about these females because I'm still clueless with this with Deron the Pace. I mean, no shade, but I'm just like, where did she come from?
Yeah.
What's up
Where
with
did Angel come from?
that jacket? Was I don't know what's going on with that jacket. I'm trying to figure out like why you said your uncle lived down the street when you know that your uncle did not live down the street. And I'm sorry, I have to say this. When I look at her mother and I look at her and I look at the situation, I'm like, she was not with Kale.
No. And Kels wouldn't have to hold me hostage.
But
He
she was
wouldn't.
with somebody that if she was around Kels, she was with one of his
The
people.
people in his entourage. Yeah.
Because
There's
honey,
no way.
you trying him and you trying him real hard. I'm just saying. Because and that's why I was like, don't get me started with these females because a lot that one in the recent documentary was Shabazz. I hope
I'm sorry.
you
But somebody said she looked like she still got her baby teeth.
see my eyes. Do you see them?
She looked like she got her baby teeth.
Well,
Oh,
hold on a second, Nene.
Wait
So,
a minute.
so again, so again,
I thought he's calling us Shanae.
no, he's
did I say Shanae?
Nene.
I said
No, he
Nene.
did not.
Nene.
I'm tripping
Is
out
it
over
Nene
here.
or Nene? I don't know.
It's
Nene.
Nene. It's Nene.
Okay.
Nene, good people. She real good people.
Yeah, I like Nene.
So here's the thing. I mean, the guy was basically going from he's a musician, right? So
Right.
he spends most of his time writing music,
Right.
touring, and basically making money. So, in my opinion, he's like who is the other one? Eric Benet. Eric Benet did the same thing. Eric Benet, because I think that's why he got divorced from Halle Berry
Oh, I
because
left him alone after he did that. He played that stupid move. I'm trying to figure out what is going on with Holly Berry why she can't keep a man, but neither here nor there. When Eric Benet left Holly Berry, I'm like, dude, you done lost your mind.
I mean, but he was he had
Well,
a, he had groupies too. You know what I mean? So
why is it
maybe that has
never
something to do
enough?
with it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that had something to
Why
do.
is, we need to do a live on this. Why is it never enough? Why is it never enough? And why do women
Why
think
is
that they're better than the other woman?
why
Because
is what never enough? Women or
in relationships, why
what's
people?
never enough?
Okay, like what he just look.
I'm sorry.
We were talking about Eric Benet and Holly Berry, right?
Mhm.
Holly Berry, Beyonce, the Jay-Z. These kind of women. I want men's opinions on why they would cheat on women that look like them.